Okay, y'all. A lot has happened in these past couple of days leading up to the final week of the NFL season, week 18. Most notably, I'm going to be talking about Trevon Diggs here, who was just waived by the Dallas Cowboys with only one game left to play. They've, of course, released an official statement on him being waived. We'll kind of go through that, talk about some of these things, and kind of predict what might happen here in the near future for Trevon. He will be subject to the NFL waiver wire over the next 24 hours. So this would have been from yesterday afternoon. So here in the next few hours, he's most likely going to make it through the waiver wire. And then it just becomes a question of, are any of the teams wanting to pick him up? Most notably for the playoff. A former second-round pick of the Cowboys in 2020, the former Alabama cornerback flew out of the gates at the professional level, going on to set franchise records en route to becoming the league's interception leader in 2021, earning 2 Pro Bowl nods and first-team All-Pro honor in his first 2 seasons. In that second season, he had 11 interceptions, and that really propelled him to being considered like a top-tier shutdown cornerback. You get 11 interceptions, that's a franchise record, and of course that led the league in interceptions. On top of that, 2 of those interceptions were pick sixes, and a total of 17 interceptions in his first 3 seasons before he kind of started getting hurt. So 3 seasons in the league, rookie, and then 2 more years, he's got 17 interceptions. Like I said, that puts you at the top of the top. And of course, what comes with that? Contract extensions. However, it was after those 3 seasons with 17 interceptions that things kind of took a turn for the worse. The 27-year-old had suffered a season knee injury in 2023. Unable to regain his same level of play in 2024. In 2025, this season, though, Diggs began the season with high hopes, but a concussion and soreness in the offending knee again landed him on injured reserve, remaining sidelined for much of the second half of the season before being activated against the Los Angeles Chargers in Week 16. Then, of course, he came back on Christmas Day to play against the Washington Commanders. And that ended up being Trevon Diggs' final game with the Dallas Cowboys. Interestingly enough, on that game, that was a road game in Washington. And while the team was getting ready to come back to Dallas, Trevon asked to stay in Washington so he could visit some of his family members. That request was denied by the team, and that really started sparking a lot of rumors about what's going on with the situation there. Is this the last stop for Trevon Diggs with the Dallas Cowboys? And guess what? It was the last stop for him with the Dallas Cowboys. Opting to part ways with Diggs doesn't allow the Cowboys to escape the payout of his final game check. So they have to pay him for that final game check, but he's also been paid all of his guaranteed money. So that means next year he's not going to count against the Dallas Cowboys cap at all, and that's going to save the team $14.5 million. Now, they can take that $14.5 million and hopefully invest in some more talent during the offseason, even though they're not great at that. But there's an opportunity there to either get another cornerback. They need help at safety. They need some edge rushers. They need a lot of help right now. From a strange summer wherein Diggs and the team were at odds over his rehabilitation plan, one that cost him $500,000 to a season headlined by a disconnect with defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus and head coach Brian Schottenheimer, to a controversial concussion suffered at home and the aforementioned latest stint on IR. It never truly felt as if Diggs and the Cowboys were on the same page or that they ever would be again. So as the calendar closes on 2025, so does Diggs' career in Dallas. Now, there's also been some speculation that because he wanted to stay in Washington after the Commanders game, that maybe he was trying to work a deal with Washington. And of course, their head coach, Dan Quinn, was the former defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. So does that mean there's an opportunity for a reuniting of those 2 individuals? Possibly, but of course, Washington missed the playoffs, so there's not going to be an extension of his playing time for this season. Now, looking at the playoff teams, are any of these teams willing or wanting to pick up Trevon Diggs going into the playoffs? Philadelphia is an option. It's an interesting option. Normally, we talk about players not being moved around within the division, but of course, he was not traded. He's just been waived, so any team can pick him up. That might be a possible landing opportunity, especially if he's feeling jilted by the Dallas Cowboys and he wants to kind of stick it to them. Let me go play for Philadelphia, do a playoff run, and then, of course, play them twice a year from there on. Also, what about the New England Patriots? His brother, Trevon Diggs, is a wide receiver for the New England Patriots. Now, of course, there's a lot more to that story, as Trevon Diggs was just accused and charged with assault. Because of that, the New England Patriots might be a little weary of the Diggs brothers right now. Pittsburgh, they have an opportunity to make the playoffs if they win their game on week 18. And if they do, they definitely need help with their defense, as they have been known for their defense over the years. This year, their defense has truly struggled. Then, of course, there's also the Green Bay Packers, and that's an interesting team because Trevon Diggs had a close relationship with our former defensive end, now current Green Bay Packer defensive end, Micah Parsons. So there could be some motivation there to try to work out a deal with Green Bay and reunite with Micah Parsons. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Also, it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Trevon Diggs there in New England, see how that all plays out as well. Either way, it's shaping up to be a pretty interesting and important Week 18. I can't wait to see it.